People's places all the time. What's going on here then?
We're in the pit.
You're in the pit? What are you doing in the pit there?
Could I just come close to you?
Horny job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what
We need some horns.
you doing there? John? What you doing there?
Oh, I'm very busy.
What are you being very busy at, mate?
I'm imitating a council worker. I'm breastfeeding my shovel.
What are you doing, Ben?
I'm putting horns in the ground. Gosh, what are we doing this for? Can somebody...
We are creating
Yes.
the most amazing
Yes.
500
500.
Why is the angle of the horn important?
because we've got to get 2 layers in. See,
It has
And
to
you
be
want
coming
soil
from
to be
Mother
packed
Earth
right round them.
for the
falls
forces
it
to be
around,
able to
all of it.
upside down. And then when you pull it out, in September, the cow manure has turned into beautiful black earth. And then when you smell it, it smells gorgeous. Yes?
Smells gorgeous now.
No, it smells like shit now.
Cow poo though. It's quite a gorgeous smell, really.
Well, it's not unpleasant, but
It's a good, healthy agricultural
it is. It's nothing wrong with it. No, it's not wrong with it.
So would anybody like to have a go at describing what it is when it comes out of the ground in 6 months' time?
This guy
I can cut this blank bit out.
yeah, good idea. Yeah.
Whatever it is, it works.
Okay. Might wait till Adam comes
It's
over.
probably just the
So what we've got here is this is the burying of the cow horns, which we do every autumn into winter time. And this is the time when we take a cow horn and we fill it with manure from a lactating biodynamic cow. And we place it in the earth, and it needs to be in the earth because the earth is actually what connects it to the rest of the cosmos. And through this transmutational process that's happening over winter, we need to encourage those forces to come through the horn, through the earth, to be able to create this transformation. And in 6 months' time, well, it's a bit less here in the tropics, we'll be digging this up, and by then it'll have turned into what we call 500, which is one of the founding preparations for the biodynamics. So what we've got here is we've got people in the pit and they're burying the cow horns. We bury them with a point up and the opening down because we get heavy rain. The and if they're sitting upright, some people lay them on their sides. We find this is the most effective way with heavy rain. The rain drains, they don't sit with water like a cup and go anaerobic. They're putting earth all around each horn to make sure every horn is fully in contact with the earth. This earth has been treated biodynamically for 15 years now, and they lay them in layers like that because this is the way we found it to be most effective, so that we can get as many horns in this pit. There'll be probably about 15 to 1800 horns buried here today.
Wonderful.
So we're going to move the pit every year now because we always used to have it in one area, which was convenient, but we found that every tree in the orchard now knows where it is and their roots are invading the pit. So we have to keep them guessing, so every year we're going to be moving it to somewhere else.
Oh, that'll be wonderful for the land as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and so when you say the 1500 to 1800 horns, how much 500 would that produce? And
A bathtub full.
okay.
Big cast iron bathtub. So
And how many acres, for instance?
That would be, well, let's say if you'd use 30 to 35 grams an acre, that's quite a few thousand acres.
It is. Wonderful.
So this is a winter preparation, and then in the summertime we bury horns with silica in them. We only do a few, not as many as this. And that works with the atmosphere. This is going to be working with the soil as a soil preparation, and the silica works with the atmosphere.
And is this the primary place for producing the 500 on the tablelands, or are other people doing this?
No, we got one or two other people who do for their own, but these are all for the whole of North Queensland. The preparations are made here for those people who don't make their own.
Wow.
So that's going past towns all up to Cooktown and out west.
Wonderful.
We've actually got some in Mackay as well.
Wonderful.
So this is
That's
tropical. We do it up here because the preparations are made down south are good preparations, but they're made in the temperate zone for the temperate zone.
Yeah.
These are made in the tropics for the tropics.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thanks, Adam.
Okay.
You're right. Okay, yeah, what we're doing with the Biodynamic and Organic Farmers Co-op in Atherton is we've formed several committees, but one of the committees is a group that are looking at supply, and the group consists of Wade Dillon's our chairman, and Adam Collins, Wayne Rankin and myself. And what we're trying to do is to set up and put it out there if anybody wants to grow biodynamically, organically, produce in a market garden situation or whatever, that we're trying to connect them with land to do it on. So, and because at this stage we're really looking for more supply for the shop, because it's since we became a producers and consumers co-op, and we've got now 30 something odd members, it's really booming and we need more supply.
Wonderful. Excellent. And what about yourself, John? What are you growing at your
Well,
place?
I'm on the verge of growing veggies, but I've got a bit of work to do. I've got some wascally rabbits coming in, and I'll have to fix a fence for them, and wallabies. I need a secure fence, but I've got plenty of water and land and stuff, but I just need to make sure it's safe from the little varmints.
Varmints.
Yeah.
Those wascally rabbits. And I've eaten some of your amazing pumpkins, so they've been out and about on the market.
Yeah, no,
dividing
we
the
haven't
pumpkins.
produced, and we used to supply beef to the shop, but now it's supplied by John Bull, who's an organic grower from Malanda.
Right.
And but yeah, it's very good beef. So yeah, no, it's but I am working towards getting the garden going again. But
Excellent.
hopefully, maybe someone out there that's interested in growing organic, we can maybe work together with something.
Wonderful. So it's like you're linking up people with land, with people that want to grow food,
Yeah.
and you're linking up people that grow food with a market through the cooperative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got supply chains through that as well.
Yeah, and
Wonderful.
we've actually evolving in that we're now sort of supplying some other people, some other organic outlets from
Wonderful.
our base of growers.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, John. Excellent. Thank you.
We've tried all sorts of different ways of making biochar, and the biggest issue for me is trying to control the amount of air that goes in. Whatever system we've had is you've always got to control the amount of air, because you've got to have enough to burn and not too much that it turns to ash. And the issue with that has always been, was there enough, has it gone out, you know, anyway I found out about the cone kiln, which the Japanese have been using for thousands of years, and because of its shape, what it does is it actually draws air up and then in and creates this vortex. So you put layers in. You put a layer in about 300 mils. You let it start burning. The moment you see it starting to ash, you put another layer in, and that layer draws the air away from the layer underneath it. But it's still burning. So it's burning in a low oxygen environment, which creates char or charcoal. When that layer starts to ash, you put another layer in. And so you keep drawing that air away, but it's still burning, but in a low oxygen environment. And it's actually, it works it out how to do it. So the angle and everything is all designed.
When you got that all them as in charcoal, how do you tip it out?
Well, when it gets to the top, and you've got it filled right up, and the last layer starts to ash, you fill it with water. That's why you've got a drain here.
Oh, okay.
You fill it with water to put it out, because if you let it burn,
Yeah,
it would burn all to ash like that.
Okay, okay.
And then the next morning, you leave it overnight. The next morning you can actually take that water out and it's all soapy. It'll be crystal clear and it'll be soapy because it's very high in potassium.
And
so you can use that on your compost.
Okay. And do you use the biochar as well?
Yeah, we use the char. What we use the char is we put it through the hammer mill when it's slightly damp.
Yeah.
Put it through a hammer mill and then we put it in the compost.
All right, and the compost will activate it.
So can you just explain how, what's the benefit of the actual char itself? Because it's not just like normal charcoal, it's specifically made to a certain heat. It's, yeah, so,
well,
and what's the benefit of...
There's so many different opinions on it. I spoke to the guy at the biological conference and I said, you know, what's the difference? He said, biochar, charcoal, they're all pretty much the same thing. They're basically carbon of some sort. In the case we're going to use bones as well because it's phosphorus and calcium in there.
You're going to burn them.
Yeah. They found that by burning that and also burning manure, so this manure here you put in some of that and it burn it, they found it encapsulates the nitrogen better than in the composting. How that works I don't know. But he was saying that charcoal's charcoal. It's basically carbon burnt in a low oxygen environment.
And the benefit of putting the charcoal through the compost and then out into the field,
well, from our point of view is the charcoal, the biochar, or charcoal, when you look at it under a microscope it's full of tiny little holes, and these holes act like a 5-star resort for microbes. Now within biodynamics we're using 500 to create that space for the microbes to come in. Now we've built them a hotel. You know, we just need the go-go girls and we've got it all made.
And what part is the go-go girls?
You.
Have you got a little dance for us?
In a tutu, a pink number.
No, but have you got a bit of go-go?
Yeah, well, it's getting all the picture. It's the microbes, the macros, the micros, getting the minerals there, getting the hotel there, getting a beautiful place for them to be. You create that environment, they love to be there. And when they love to be there, they love to create because that's what they do.
Yeah,
so then we put the plants in there, we add the seeds, We're just the conductor, really. We don't do it.
How small are you crushing it to?
As fine a powder as possible.
Oh, even powder. Okay.
To increase the surface area as much as possible to spread as far as possible. Big chunks don't go very far. You grind that up, that goes over a large distance.
So even though it's powdered, it's still like a multi-storey hotel.
Oh yeah. You look under a microscope and it's still multi-stories. You've got to remember we're talking micro here a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, a teaspoonful of healthy soil having enough microbes in there, more than people on this planet. You know, so you imagine the amount of microbes in there, and you take a bit of biochar, well, you just housed the whole planet.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's for this way. It's you see, it's just starting to ash now. You can see that's what's in there. It's just starting to ash to white. Okay. Can you see it all? So when it starts to do that, we put another layer on. And this is just all wood that's picked up on the side of the paddock. We have to pick it up because it's in the way for when we make hay. The water is. That's why I actually don't
Singe your hair.
there's a grate at the bottom so that doesn't block up the hole. And this is how they break down. You can see they're starting to break down here.
You see the porosity?
How long would they have been in the compost for, Adam, do you think?
Well, if you put a cow in the compost, if you've got a good compost, gets up to enough heat, within 2 weeks there's not much left. These are the bones that are left. These are like thigh bones, pelvis, skull, and if it keeps working, it doesn't take long for them to be gone.
Amazing, eh?
It's called recycling. And compost is the promise there is life after death.
Looks like coral.
So by burning these, see the trouble with this in its form like this is not biologically available. Okay? So it's not going to feed a plant. However, by putting it in the compost, the microbes break it down. You put it in the soil, what break it down is the fungi, bacterial work on it. They start releasing it, but slow.